So I was pondering, what would I talk to you about today? And I remembered that Jean and I were in Italy. And we went through one of the arches, and on one of the arches they had in Latin the saying, "Know thyself." And that was a famous quote from Socrates. And so I thought what I would do is talk about that, but understanding that knowing thyself is only the beginning. You see, it's not complete to just do that. You have to take time to go beyond, and that's true about all life. So let's look at that. So what does it mean to know thyself? Well, first, you've got to know thyself is to understand that there's more than the physical body and more than the physical mind, or the mind, the ego mind. There's more than that. But we have gotten to the point where we've been so conditioned that we identify so perfectly with this body. And we love this body so much that we decorate it. I saw a picture on Facebook the other day with my beloved Burgundy, and she had these lips that were redder than the reddest lips you've ever seen before, because she was decorating herself, because she felt good. Nothing wrong with that. Do you get that? There is nothing wrong with that at all. Understanding and realizing, knowing that your body is not who you are. Do you see what I'm getting at? I'm not trying to take you out of your human habits. I'm trying to get you to understand that if you're aware of them, then it's really cool. So the idea is that we're not that. So then we come to the idea that is there is an inner self first. And this is really clear when you start talking about the idea of purpose. We talk about life values and how do our values serve us in that? Well, there's really two sets of values. There's the inner value and then there's the outer values. I call them the spiritual value and the human values. Okay? In the spiritual values, to know thyself is to understand that there is only one. It is infinite, it is all-knowing, it is everywhere present. Out of it, everything is created, and it created myself and all of you. Out of it, and each of you is unique, whole, perfect expression of love, and within you is a power that allows you to create your life experience. And so when you understand that there's this inner self, all you have to understand there is your purpose is simply this: to become aware. That's it. Isn't that simple? It's just not easy. Because there's so many distractions out there that say you are not okay. You need to compare yourself to this. You need Burgundy to get some of this lipstick and not that lipstick, and then your lips will glow in the dark. I share that with you. I'm not making fun of Burgundy. She just happens to be here and I like her. So I saw her with lips, so I'm using her as a thing. But the thing is, we've got to stop and say, I'm okay, just like I am. And all I'm here to do is to become more aware. Number one, that I am spirit. I can be the observer. And I'm here to fully experience life. Do you get that? I'm here to fully experience life. Not to be a victim to life. So now we come to the outer, because there is an outer self that we're dealing with. The outer self is going to be unique to every individual. There are no two people on the planet born with the same hair, the same lips, the same ears, the same bodies. There are no two people born with the same inner DNA to express themselves in ways that they want in human form. No two people on the planet today, and there's never been two people ever duplicated throughout all of history. Everyone is unique. So, as I studied last week with Dr. John, 4,628 human traits. Every individual on the planet has all of those traits. Saint, murderer. visionary, dictator. We all have every trait. When we don't like someone for a specific reason, it's because we see a trait in them that we don't like about ourselves. Do you really hear what I just said to you? When you see someone that you don't like, it's because there's a trait in you that you are maybe repressing whatever, and you haven't accepted yet. I love the way Dr. John says this. He says to someone, he would say, Lori, what if I told you you were always kind and beautiful and sweet and giving? Would you believe me? No. What if I said to you, sometimes you're kind and sometimes you're not? Sometimes you're giving and sometimes you're taking. Sometimes you're sweet and sometimes you're just a bitch. Would you agree with that? You would, because there's a balance there. We have both sides. We have both the light and we have the shadow. And when we can embrace that, now we can accept ourselves. And guess what? Now we're in love with ourselves. But you can't just love one side. You can't just accept one side. You have to accept both sides. That's what it is. And the outer self to express, it's fascinating that we don't realize that when our mother and father came together and they did the procreation act and that sperm and that egg came together, there's DNA in there. There's physical DNA and there's mental DNA. And the DNA of emotions, of all these things, goes back. They've been saying they can trace it back 6 generations minimum. So when you come into the world, you are already pre-wired. And then you come in, and mom and dad, they start pre-wiring you even more. And then you go to church, and the church rewires you more. And then you get into school, and they're rewiring. And then you're watching TV. And so you literally, by the time you're 9, 10, you have been completely domesticated out of your unique original self. And the rest of your life you're spending trying to release that and discover what it is about you that is your outer purpose. And that's one of the things I learned last week with Dr. John. I became a licensed values facilitator. And the training I got was just absolutely incredible. I actually adjusted my values by doing it. And I thought I had them down pat. But I realized, here's the thing you got to realize. You can always become more clear because you're always changing, becoming more. But we get stuck in the situation and we don't take the time to expand. And so when you get clear on those values, here's a question. I'm going to leave you one question I'm going to give you. If your day is full, your day is absolutely full, and you got no time at all left on your calendar, and someone comes up to you or something is presented to you, what will you always make time for? You know what I mean? You'll be in the midst of, I was writing my talk the other day, and then I noticed that so-and-so called. So-and-so was a board member. One of my top values is community, building community. Immediately, boom, picked it up. Without hesitation. Spent 25 minutes. Guess what? It's okay. I was doing what I love. But I was conscious that it was a value. The thing is that when your schedule is really busy and you know who you are and you know what you want to do, and you let things come in and you make time for them and they're not values for you, that's when you're wasting time. So I asked the question, this is what I want you to ponder this week. Not only all of you, but all of you out there, ponder this. What will you always make time for? Because that'll tell you what juices you. And that's something that I'm spreading. I'm spreading the word juice. Everywhere I go, I ask the question, what juices you? I had the whole group at DiMartini doing the same thing. What juices you? Because for me, that lives, I get that. What do you get excited about? And realize you don't need anyone else's approval to feel excited. Next, Once you know yourself, your inner and your outer, now your job is to be yourself. So what I do is that whenever I'm making a decision, putting my calendar together, what I'm going to do, I ask the question, is what I'm about to do serving my top 5 values? If it's not serving my top 5 values, I'm finding a way to delegate it, not do it, or I'm finding a way to say, how can this serve one of my top values so I don't regret it? You know what I mean? Here's a key. Here's how you know if it's not a top value for you. If you're procrastinating. If you are procrastinating, rest assured it's not a high value. Let's say you're in a relationship. That's a great one. Your partner says to you, hey, I want you to do this. 2 weeks later, it's not done. Your partner ought to be able to understand that it's not a value to you. If you've got kids and they're young teens, and you say, I want you to do your homework, and the kids are there, their top value is socializing with friends and playing video games, they're going to lie to you like crazy because they want to spend time with their friends and play video games. They don't give a hoot about schoolwork. They haven't linked it to see how it serves them. See, rest assured, you can only trust people to live to the highest of their values. Did you hear that? You don't trust people based on what they say. You trust people based on what is their highest values, and they will live to that. People's actions tell you everything. You've just got to be aware, and you've just got to observe. Also, after you become yourself and you be yourself, then you got to love yourself, which means you've got to accept that authentic self, accept that inner purpose, accept that outer purpose, and accept it and love it and be it and know that that's enough. That's a lot of work because we've been taught we're not worthy. I remember being a Catholic growing up. Right before communion, we'd say, Lord, I am not worthy, but say the word and my soul shall be healed. That's brainwashing, isn't it? Absolute brainwashing. Why is it brainwashing? Because you're saying that there's something outside of you that is judging you. There's a power and a presence outside of you, and if you're not a good boy, guess what? Santa Claus is going to send you to hell. Yeah, and if I hit you on that, if it struck a nerve, I meant to. Because I'm trying to get you to understand that an infinite, get this, an infinite, which we define God, all-knowing, everywhere present, always has been, always will be. It's everything. It cannot judge, because to judge, it would be judging itself. Because there's nothing other than it. There cannot be a devil because there's nothing outside of God. Cannot be a hell because there's nothing outside of God. God is everything, created everything out of itself. So it doesn't know duality. It experiences duality as each of us. So to say that that we're a God-fearing man, a God-fearing woman, come on, folks. You shouldn't fear God. Why? God is love. What does it mean when we say God is love? That means God accepts us as we are. And it's given us the freedom to be whatever we decide to be, with no judgment, understanding that we are eternally evolving in our level of awareness. Do you see how we come back to the mission of Agape right there? The number one thing is to become more aware, to live more aware. And then when we live more aware, we're able to what? We're able to love. We're able to accept ourselves. We're able to then accept others. And then we do what is fulfilling to us, and we live a life that is fulfilled. Do you notice I did not say a life that is happy? Happy is the illusion. It's a one-sided life. It's impossible to be happy all the time. We have to give that up. We will always have this because contrast allows us to feel. Without contrast, we can't feel. And then the last part of this is that we've got to share. We've got to share who we are. We've got to share our inner purpose. We've got to share our outer purpose. We've got to be that man, be that woman. and we've got to love ourselves, and because we've done that with us, now we bring it to all the relationships that we have with people. And that, my friends, is when you become the light in the world. That's how you change people, because people will observe your light. And when they observe your light, they're going to say, that looks nice. Because what is it? We're like bugs. We're attracted to the light. Do you ever notice that? You go in a room, big crowded room, you're going to gaze around and you're going to say, where's the big energy? You're going to know there are going to be people in that room that light that room up, and you want to be with those people. You want to be around them. Why? You want the light. Because the light is a feeling that we have. It's a desire within us that is insatiable. We want to become more, to experience more. Do you get that? That's why we're here. We're here to continually experience more and more and more, and we can't limit ourselves. But we have to understand what is our life purpose, which comes out of what are our values, our highest values. And from that, we start living. And so we come to the fact is that we must simply just be and live in the balance that is life. Because remember this, all of life is in balance. This whole cosmos is in balance. Because if the cosmos wasn't in balance, it would self-destruct. Do you get that? There has to be balance for everything to exist. Your body and your mind, when they are in balance, no disease can exist. Isn't that interesting? No disease can exist. When your body is fully oxygenated, disease disappears. When there is balance, there's what? No stress. When there's no stress, the body goes easier into homeostasis, doesn't it? Homeostasis, there is no disease. Disease is a sign for us to realize that we're out of balance. And we need to come back and see that. And when we see that, healing will take place. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know I'm huge, absolutely huge, into deep breathing. I'm following Wim Hof. I do it twice a day, every day. Because I've seen the scientific evidence and I understand the spiritual evidence of what it does for us. I want you to know that my entire group of people that I meet with on Wednesdays from Europe, every one of them is doing the Wim Hof breathing technique every day. That's part of their regular daily spiritual practice. I say that because they're actually seeing the benefit. They're testing it. They've done it for 3 weeks. I said, stop for 3 days. They stopped and they said, we had to go back. Why did they have to go back? Because they realized they didn't feel as good. Their bodies didn't feel as good. See, that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to try something new and prove it for yourself. Because when you prove it for yourself, that's the only experience you need. No one ever learns anything until they experience it themselves. So if you think you can tell your kids, your parents anything to do it, don't buy into that. They must experience it. That's how we learn life. Know thyself. Be thyself. Love thyself. Share thyself. It's all you need to know about life, folks. It's that simple. I don't know why you've been making it so complex all these years. Here's what I know is in human form, we constantly are rediscovering our truth. So be gentle on yourself. Don't judge yourself. Understand that it's an unfolding journey and that everybody is in a different place.